Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Read With Me. I am your host, Kelly Michelle. For all of you who are new to the channel, thanks for clicking on the link. This channel focuses on reading together separately. And what we do is I choose a book and we will read that book for that month with the goal of completing one book per month, 12 books per year. So we finished January's book, we finished February's book, and now we are diving into March's book. And the book for March is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So last time in the episode, I went over chapters 5 and 6, and this time I will be reviewing chapters 7 and 8. And just as a disclaimer, the purpose of this book club and the purpose of these summaries is not to tell you all about the book, but to encourage you to read it for yourself. I am simply just sharing some reflections and thoughts and ideas that stood out to me as I was reading those assigned chapters of the book. So I want to encourage you to read the book as well. All right. So let's dive right into chapters 7 and 8. And before I do, I'd like to tell you the section of the book that these chapters are in. And the section is titled You and the Let Them Theory. And the subtitle for these two chapters are Dealing with Someone Else's Emotional Reactions. And chapter 7 is titled When Grown-ups Throw Tantrums, and chapter 8 is titled The Right Decision Often Feels Wrong. So let's dive into chapter 7 so I can tell you the things that stood out most for me. As a reminder, chapter 7 was titled When Grown-ups Throw Tantrums. And here are the 3 things that stood out to me. Number 1, it's not your own responsibility to manage someone else's reaction. Number 2, you will always come last if you let other people's emotional immaturity have power over you. And number 3, most people do not have the tools to handle their emotions maturely. So as you see, this chapter has to do with people's reactions and your emotions in regards to people's reactions. And what stood out to me was what I said, number 1, which really hit home for me. It's not my responsibility to manage someone else's reactions. Let me say that again. It's not your responsibility to manage someone else's reactions. And I have had to grow in this area in my personal life. I know that especially in different relationships, whether or not it's a romantic relationship or a friendship relationship, or even with family members, especially when I was younger, I really tailored my messages to them to make sure that I said everything right. I gave all the details so that I could manage their reactions. What I am not saying is that you should be insensitive and just say whatever without a level of discretion and a level of care and concern for the other person. That is not what I am saying, and I don't believe that what the author is saying in regards to this either. But what I do believe that the author is saying is that once you share with someone, whatever it might be, you're not in charge of managing their reactions to the message. All you are the messenger. And so I have learned to tailor my message, making sure that, I am saying something clearly, I'm saying something precisely, I'm being true to my emotions, but I also am bathing the message with kindness and care, but as well being true to myself, whatever that message might be. And however that person receives the message especially if I share the intent. If I bathe it with kindness and care and say, you might feel some type of way or have an emotional response about what I have to say. My intent is not to hurt or to harm, but X, Y, and Z. And so I think that this point really hit home for me, and I really learned, and actually it re-encouraged me, because I told you I read this book before. It was just helping me to remember how important it is that I am not responsible for someone else's reaction to what it is that I have to say. So moving on to chapter 8, the title is The Right Decision Often Feels Wrong. And even just with that title, it's so true. There are times where I know that I'm making the right decision, but sometimes it feels wrong. So here are the things that stood out to me in this chapter. 1, you can't let your emotions drive your decisions. 2, you have to separate your emotions and emotional reactions of others to make the right decision. And number 3, negative emotions are a mentally healthy response to life's upsets. And as you see in the previous chapter and also this chapter, there's a theme going on here. And the theme is emotions. And we all have emotions, but it's about being able to use the emotions the right way. And number 1 really stuck out to me, and number 3 really stuck out to me. And I just want to reiterate those things. 1 was, you can't let your emotions drive your decisions. And 2, negative emotions are a mentally healthy response to life upsets. And that really stuck out to me because there have been times as a learned behavior, and it could be in your family, it could be in your culture, it could be in your surrounding and your environment, in which when life upsets happen, when things happen bad in our lives, there have been messages just to suck it up and to walk by faith. I grew up in the church, so that's a big part of my life is the church. And so sometimes these messages come where it's like, oh, if you have an emotional response, if you're upset about something, then you're not operating in a level of faith. And I don't believe that to be true. I remember something that my therapist shared with me a couple of years ago. Shout out to Dr. Ashley. That she was saying, when these life upsets happen, sit in your emotion. And you can give yourself a time limit to how long you will sit in the emotion. So I've learned over the years to be able to sit in my emotions. Sometimes I just need to sit in it for 30 minutes. Sometimes I need to sit in it for a day. But we all should be able to have those emotions when we have things that upset us. And so this book was just, and this chapter in particular was just really encouraging us to allow ourselves to have the negative emotions and realize that they are healthy. It is healthy to have emotions. But then once you sit in those emotions, if it is something that you cannot change the circumstance or situation, or you have no control in it, then you gotta be able to just move forward. So those are the things that really resonated with me in chapters 7 and 8. And next time I'll be going over chapters 9 and 10. I hope that you guys are enjoying this Read With Me Separate channel. I can't believe that we're already into our 3rd book. And I really encourage you that while you're reading these chapters to grab a notebook and take down your reflections, your thoughts about what you read, so that you'll be able to come back to it and be able to apply it to your life in the future. Also, I want to encourage you, as I always do before I end the segment, to read. Spend some time reading today to sharpen your mind. If you are enjoying this channel, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, happy reading.